Yo, this week I chose to spin a little bit of wool. So I'm not great at this. I've done a few balls of wool and have knitted with a few of them, but definitely not great at it. Still, I started this like a year and a half ago. I had gone somewhere with my mom and one of my sisters when she was visiting, and I found a drop spindle and I wanted to learn how to spin wool. So that's been fun. I love how wool smells. So most of the wool in my tub is real animal wool, and there's a little bit of synthetic. So I do have one ball that I made of synthetic so that I didn't feel like I was wasting the real wool. And then I got a lot more real wool, so we're good. Most of it's wool. And it smells so good, in my opinion. I love it. So I have two drop spindles because I was doing just one for a while, but then I wanted to do another color. And it takes me a long time to get one ball made. So I got a second drop spindle so that I could do two colors at once. So this first part, I'm just using a glob of wool that's just been dyed and combed. And that's it here. There's so many different ways that you can buy the wool. So you can buy it in little blobs like this. You can have it just white. You know, there'll even still be bits of whatever was in the fur. That's my favorite. And then you can get roll-ups, and you can get really, really thin already made most of the way to yarn. And then you can get the thicker multicolor, partially to yarn stuff. So this is just blob of wool. This is how I first learned how to do it. And it's definitely the hardest. I try to do too long of a strand at once because I don't like redoing the top. So it'll just like drop and let go once in a while if I overspin it or if I make one spot a little bit too thin. So my yarn is definitely not consistent. It's not all the same thickness. There's bumps and thin spots, but it's good. I mean, it's good enough. So anyways, I don't know why I wanted to do this. It just seemed like fun, and then I really enjoyed it. It's a great task for just watching TV or standing around with people while they chat. So it's very easy. Well, considering how bad I'm doing, I mean, the task is mostly easy. It's supposed to be a task children can do. Technically, the thing that I bought that taught me how to do it was for 8 and up. So I'd like to think that my skills are somewhat at least equivalent to a child, but I don't know because kids are good at stuff, and I'm a little wonky here, but whatever. I'm doing it. So you spin it around the drop spindle once you've gotten a certain amount, and you can't really keep spinning, and then you have to retie it and re-go. So then this Wiggly Giant Pink stuff that I have, that's also wool, but that is wool that has been partially made into the yarn process for you. So it's wool that's got these little pieces of, I don't know, probably other wool. It's some kind of little like string, very thin, and it's kind of elasticy. You can pull it out, and it's just little bands all the way up it so that it stays in the tube, so that it's easier and faster for you to turn it into yarn. It's obviously it's more expensive than just regular wool because it's processed for you. But considering what I paid for it at a little novelty hobby shop, I've had it for years. I think it's worth the money if you're still very inconsistent and you need your yarn to be more consistent for something little. Because I can't make little yarn consistent. It doesn't stay. I can make it thicker and it'll at least stay even if it's inconsistent. Anyways, so yeah. So this will be more consistent. This, and then did I already mention that the other kind I have that's like this is gray? So the thin gray is even thinner than this. And then at the end, I show what I knitted with it. So the gray is definitely the thinnest yarn I've ever knitted with. And it was really fun to knit with, but I didn't get very far. It's slow. I'm not very fast with knitting. It's also something I'm not great at. So my life, I wanted to learn to like knit or crochet or something because my family is extremely craft and art oriented, right? So I could never figure out how to knit or crochet, no matter who tried to teach me. So many people tried to teach me how to knit, like, oh my God. And I was not getting it. Well, I bought a book for children that teaches children to knit, and it has pictures, and it helped so much. I mean, I still need that book because I don't always remember, like, how do you get started? And then once you're started, I can go from there. But doing that first get it started part, I don't even remember what it's called. Definitely need the book. So I'm doing a craft that is marketed towards 8-year-olds, and how well I'm doing is up for debate. Oh, well, I mean, I'm having fun with it, and it's cute colors and stuff, so whatever. I like the drop spindle. It's fun. So also, I have 2 different types of drop spindles, and I've noticed that one of them, the notch at the top is way too close to the point, and it'll just slip off, and that's sad. Then you have to wrap the whole thing, and it's just a bummer. So you want to have a decent length tip so that your top stays. And then also the little nubby on the bottom of it on that same one is really, really short. And that's the nub that I like to grab to spin, to twist it. But I'm not really getting any spin if I can't grab it. So I try to like spin it by the disc. I don't know. I don't love that the disc is enormous on that one too. I liked the first drop spindle I bought more. But then I was having a hard time finding a second one. And I found this one at the hobby shop that I also got some of the wool at. It was just what I found. I needed a second one, so beggars can't be choosers here. Whatever. I lost my train of thought. So I want to make my yarn strands as long as possible between unwrapping, because I just don't like having to retie it, because I'll drop it sometimes or wind up having to respin the whole bit. So I try to make it go as long as I can. So I'll go up and up and up until I hit the roof sometimes. And then I wrap it around the 3 fingers that are free, and I hold the yarn that's not yet spun in these 2 fingers. And then I can wrap it around the thing, the spindle. Do my words even make sense? If they don't even make sense to me, I can't imagine they make sense to someone else. So here's just an example of yarn that I spun. This is the very, very first ball of yarn that I ever spun. This is with just straight wool from the farm that I bought the very, very first kit at. It was white, and it still had little bits of things in the fur. So I absolutely loved that. That took me forever to roll. It was like 20 hours. And then somebody who was trying to teach me how to do this was like, oh my God, it should not have been more than like 30 minutes. Oh my God, I'm never going to get a ball made in 30 minutes. So the purple and pink one that I had in my hand, that was the synthetic. It's the only ball of synthetic I made. And then the red and green and white was just a Christmas one that I had made, because my mom made a bunch of gnomes a few years ago, and then I was tasked with decorating her gnomes for her. So I knitted hand spun wool onto the gnomes to give to my various sisters. So I thought that was fun. And then this is just the really, really thin gray that I had spun for myself. The gray is perfect because it was the most treated or processed out of all of the wool that I was working with. So this is perfect and really nice to knit with. Very, very thin, and I was working on making, I don't know, a hat or something. A scarf, I don't remember. I have no idea, actually. It was probably a hat for the little gnomes. So then I have this box of the gnomes that I was decorating that I totally even forgot about. Made these a few years ago. These are just the ones that were left. There was a specific person I was going to give one of these to, but it's not going to that house anymore. I do not want that household to have my work anymore. So here's my ball that I made, and then the little dude has his little ball in his hand, and I made little knitting needles in their hand because, you know. And then I made the little strips that were supposed to be scarves, but they were too short to be scarves, so I put it around the top and then just tied it in the back so they have like their knit project on them. And also, okay, these dudes don't have the handmade nose. The little dude knows. The little dudes have handmade noses that I made out of Fimo. So I took a little ball of pink, and then some of the translucent skin tone-ish, whatever that one's called. Translucent is the only word I can really remember. That might be just the only word used on it. But anyways, the pink shines through under it, and it was a fun touch for the noses. So I made little noses for the 2 little gnomes. So this is the ball of gray again, the thin perfect gray, and the little dude with a hat. So this dude does have a handmade nose and a handmade hat. And even that little stick I made out of just, anyways, so that's the little dudes. And then the other little dude that's like this, I don't have any more of that yarn, the red and white alone. I only made enough for his hat, and his hat was skimping on what I had left for the yarn. I couldn't quite make the hat as big as I wanted. I did not realize how much yarn a pointy Christmas hat was going to take, but you'll see in a second. I'm trying to make, you know, a Santa-ish point hat. I did what I could with what I had. I had very, very little of the red and white to work with. At that time, I didn't have very much wool at all, but I wound up getting kind of a lot. I went a little nuts buying wool, and now I have that huge tub that's sitting on my couch in this video. So in my pointy red hat, I do quite love, even if it was a little funky and didn't quite have what it needed. I needed it to go longer too, because the nose was way farther down on the body, so you just kind of have to push the hat down. Oh well, it's cute though, even if it's funky and there's a tail sticking off. I still like it. I'm not going for perfection. I'm just going for a fun project. And I had fun with this project. I liked it. I was going to knit something else, but I like literally just don't remember what. Because I was set out all the wool and I was going to start spinning a gradient of pink to purple for some specific thing. But what was that thing? I don't know. So, oh well. Thanks for watching.